momentum is driving what it's going to look like. A lot of projections are going on. What do you think? Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Taiwo Najobi, your host on Lanonasis Maple Sports. You guys know we like to bring a lot of unfiltered opinion, sharp analysis, and some big love for Canadian hoops and ice. Today, we're going to be breaking down the Premier League, touching a bit on the Champions League, try to see how we can dive into the key analysis, try to see some of those changes that have happened over the last week. This is run by Taiwo, your commentator, analyst, and unapologetic fan of the game. This is about 9:11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we're always happy, if you're able to join us. It's a tale of joy. I like to say, be brave and make a difference. Today I have Crespo, Joshua. Hopefully, Emmanuel is able to join us before the end, and we're still able to dive right into it and talk about some of the drama attached to the world of football, especially the way we call it, the sport we like. Crespo, just give us 1 or 2 cents, and Joshua, before we just dive right into it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I can't wait to discuss a lot of Champions League, a lot of Arsenal. Are they back? Let's see.
Yeah, Joshua.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back on the show. Talk about the game we love. So, let's get into it. I mean, some interesting things have happened. The playoffs, the draws for the Champions League round of 16. So, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you very much for that energy. These are things that we like whenever we see it coming. Looking at the tactical structure I would like to start with Atletico Madrid, and I would like Crespo to jump on it. Atletico Madrid was able to show up, in the second leg, making it 4-1 against Club Brugge, and in the aggregate it became 7-4. On paper, generally, if you ask me, I would say that the lineup was more of a 4-4-2, more like an interface. But when we're looking at the transitional play going, between defensive and attacking structure, I see Atletico Madrid being very, very aggressive, and they were able to, kind of change it back to 4-2-3-1. But the good thing is they've been able to show us that this is a different team going into the second stage. They're going to be a bit more aggressive than what we thought they used to be. Emmanuel, thanks for joining us. Good to see you again.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. I was just rushing from work. Just cut my hair.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You've gone to barb your hair with the best barber in
It's not looking fresh.
Okay, Crespo, can you
Prepare for a big game over the weekend. Prepare for a big weekend,
Good games, I'm telling you. So, Crespo, give us your 2 cents on Atletico Club Brugge. That fluid movement, I liked what I saw. But what do you think generally?
Yeah. You see, what I would say is shout out to Alex Solot. I think he was just a difference. And actually, I think over the past few games, he has not been at his best. The game before even the Champions League game, it was outstanding. I think it was a 4-2 against the team they played in the La Liga. But you could see that Solot actually is in top form. Probably now the coach is looking at maybe Alvarez will just play a beat role or a player from the bench role this time around, because Solot was actually the difference. In the first leg, we're all surprised that Atletico could concede those amount of goals or could even play that badly. I was surprised in the first leg. But in the second leg, they just showed where they're the big boys, they just showed class. And especially, I would say Solot was the tactical difference. He came into that game, and I think he had 3 goals or 4. How many goals did he score in that game? I think he had
3 goals.
He scored 2.
He had 3 goals.
No, 3. It was an hat-trick.
Okay, 3. Okay, it was an hat-trick.
Yeah, he had
I think he had 2 goals within 6 minutes.
He had 2 games in the La Liga, 2 goals in La Liga and 3 goals. So, like I said, it's just to tell you that when the player is ready to play and they come to party, they get the job done. However, can they sustain this? Because that's always been Atletico's problem. They give us this side that can do everything, and the next week they are dropping points. So, shout out to Atletico, good one. Let's see how they do in the round of 16.
Exactly. Joshua, looking at Solot, just like the way Crespo talked about it, the part that surprises me is how a player was able to move from a lower English team and come all the way to Spain at that level and you have now become a dependable part of an Atletico team. What do you think really changed for him? Because I never saw him to be a major pillar in the Athletic team.
Yeah, I mean he's always been good. He's that type of like he's not the conventional type of striker, and he's been in Atletico for a while now. I think a
Yeah,
couple of
yeah,
years, and in
yeah, a
his
couple of
first
Yeah.
years
season,
now.
he also like did well. But shortly after Alvarez came, and he's just like
His
being like
chances
this
dropped. Yeah.
the squad player, and he's just dropped to the bench and coming off when he can. But again, like Crespo said, last two games just shows his quality and how good he is in front of goal. And it's no surprise that he's made that change because I'm sure Diego Simeone is trying to like make some changes, trying to think out the team, see what works, right? Just rejig the side a bit. Julian Alvarez has not had a good run of form this season. I think he's just scored one goal, the one against Barcelona in a while. And Ademola Lookman and bringing Solot back, you can see it just kind of rejigged their attacking line a bit. And again, like you said, when it works, you're the hero, and all of a sudden the guy has got 5 goals in 2 games, and then it's almost like he will be right? The starting
Yeah.
striker for the next couple of games for the foreseeable future. But again, it's hard that it's always hard that in his locker. In his first season at Atletico Madrid, he did really well also, scoring a lot of goals. And he's from the same country as Haaland. I don't know what they do to their strikers. He also honestly I don't know what they eat in that country, but like they always just anyways, all these Vikings guys. He combines well with Haaland in the national team, and it just also fits in the way Simeone plays all this like 4-4-2, 3-5-2 type of formation with two strikers up top. And I'm so happy for him. In a World Cup year, World Cup summer to regain his form like this will be really good because he's just kind of like dropped from the national team. So kudos to him, kudos to Simeone also for making the change, and kudos to him for taking the chance and making it count.
Exactly. I'm really happy when I see English players do well in Spain, really.
Hopefully they can now be consistent because that's been Atletico this season. They kind of are maybe better in the cups or even in Champions League than the league this season. The game after they beat Barcelona, they lost in
They
the league,
lost.
right? So it's that finding that balance, that consistency for Atletico Madrid now. Now you've made it to the playoffs. Can you be consistent in the La Liga and get closer to the top two boys? But again, I think all in all, they most likely make top four, which
Yeah.
again shows the level of La Liga in terms of the competitive nature of La Liga. But they should do enough to make Champions League and check that box again for Champions League money.
Well, I just wanted to get your opinion on this. At least the whole world knows about what's happening presently now in Mexico. Mexico is slated to host about 12 matches for the World Cup. And now there's a bit of, I don't want to call it a political quagmire. It's more like a gang war going on.
Yeah.
But it's so funny that the entire World Cup organizing team is still behind them and supporting them and saying that they are not leaving any stones unturned. They will still go ahead and they will still go ahead and host about 12 matches for the World Cup. So for me, I believe that they should be able to do more for safety because as presently constructed, I don't think I can go to Mexico to watch
Yep.
any live football match because of what is presently happening. But what do you think? What's your take?
I mean, at the end of the day, World Cup is still quite a fair bit of time away, right? So, but I hope that they sort out whatever it is that's going on there. I know a friend of mine plans to go to Mexico. Well, I was the guy on Wednesday, and he wants to go to Mexico like in 2 weeks' time.
Okay.
Hey, he's studying the terrain over there to see if he can even go. If he has to cancel his flights at the moment, it's a difficult one because given the weight of the World Cup, you expect them to be able to. It's just bad timing, to be fair, right? And Mexico has been that place where you have all these gangs, Mexico, Colombia, all these gangs who try to dominate the whole country. I pray they're able to sort it out, able to get hold of things before the World Cup one. But personally, I mean, I wouldn't plan to go there if it were me. Like, I don't plan to go to the World Cup, but even with what I hear about Mexico right now, I'm not sure I want to even try it. So yeah, that is me. But then let's see how things go in the next 2-3 months, right? So before the World Cup starts.
Exactly. So this was just more of a leading question. If you look at the next match, Leverkusen had just a very quiet night with Olympiacos, and they already did most of the job in their first leg, and they were able to get it done. So there's really nothing much. It's more of a control structure. There was no chaos.
Yeah.
in that match. Not too much drama. But the next part of the drama is the fact that Leverkusen in the round of 16 will be facing the almighty Arsenal. As presently constructed, what do you think? Because I'm just checking out the draws now. They did it much earlier Eastern
Yeah,
time,
definitely.
but
Yep.
because we're in Mountain Standard Time, I can see that momentum is driving what it's going to look like. A lot of projections are going on. What do you think Arsenal will do against the Leverkusen as presently
Is
constructed?
this me?
Clean eyes.
Are you asking me or are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. What do you think?
Okay. I mean, we do have to always do right. We will beat them. That's I mean, to be fair, right? It's a good draw for us now, right?
Even the
Against playing
side
against
of the draw
Leverkusen.
is good for them where they
Yeah,
are.
the start of the draw is good for them. I know it'll be either Leverkusen or Atalanta, right? So,
Yeah.
but now got Leverkusen, which is good. So we're if we beat Leverkusen, we'll probably play between Atalanta and no, I can't remember what I saw again. But it's quite a good side. All
Atalanta Dortmund.
that don't
No,
exactly. No,
no. Is
Dortmund is
Atalanta
gone now.
playing Dortmund? Okay, okay,
No, no. I
okay.
thought you
Second
said the
leg.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
second leg of playoffs.
No. Atlanta is gone already. I mean, Dortmund is already gone,
yeah,
right?
it's
So
out.
it's
Yeah.
No, Atalanta
Dortmund.
was drawn with Bayern Munich now.
No, with
They're
Bayern
playing
Munich.
Bayern Munich now.
Remember, okay.
A round of
Yeah,
16.
so that's of the draws are fine. Like I know on one side you have Bayern Munich, you have Real Madrid, you have Chelsea, PSG, Galatasaray, Liverpool on one side. So I was like, I don't know how they did the draws, man, but it favours us now. I mean, you expect us now to go all the way to the quarterfinals, at least to the semi-finals at the minimum. Let's see how we go. The thing about Champions League is that all teams are good teams to make it this far. See what this team did to Inter Milan home and away. So
Yeah.
you can still be surprised tomorrow. You still need to be on your guard. You need to be at your best, or else you can still be surprised. The fact that we're playing Leverkusen doesn't mean that they can't beat us on a very good day, right? Because for them to make it this far, they're still a good side. So I expect Arsenal to beat them. Arsenal has, I'll say, the easiest draw so far in the Champions League. Apart from the smaller teams, has the easiest draw. Then I hope we make it through at least to the semis. That's all
I
we can
was
ask for.
thinking Atletico had the best draw because Atletico will be facing a very injured Tottenham. That's what I just thought.
No,
They are looking forward to
Spurs,
one.
Spurs has done well
So
in the Champions League. In the
exactly.
Champions League, they are quite strong, right? Which is funny. They're doing well in the Champions League. So, but let's see. I mean, let's see how it goes. You never know.
Exactly. So, Crespo, I was thinking for the performance between Bodo Glimt and Inter, the part that surprised me the most, and I felt that it's better to just bring it out and just say it the way it is. Inter had 70.8% of the possession. They had 30 shots and 16 corners, and still they couldn't beat Bodo Glimt. It's still a
Yeah.
big surprise for me. They controlled the territory, but they didn't look dangerous. What do you think?
Yeah, and this is what happens with Champions League when you go away and you lose that way. So, Bodo Glimt had no reason to come out. It was all
Yeah.
for Inter to do, and it was just a bad day again because I saw the game. So many chances, maybe not very clear. So many times they even got close to scoring and a clear line, goal line clearance and all of that. We saw a lot of that. However, kudos to Bodo Glimt, in my opinion. They had few chances and they scored good goals. They did not. There were no flukes, And again, that's what happens with this, like the giant slayer mentality. At the level that football is right now, if you don't take your chances, you're going to get cleaned out. So,
You get
and that's what
punished.
Bodo Glimt did. You get punished, as simple as that. So, again, shout out to more. Beyond anything, I give kudos more to Bodo Glimt rather than talk about even Inter Milan. I think it's unfair when we talk about Inter Milan at that level. If you cannot do well against the Bodo Glimt, you're like Italian champions in the last 5 years, more about 3 times. You can't. In fact, you are the final of the last Champions League. So.
Champions
Or
League.
are
Yeah.
they saying without Lataro they can't play football anymore? They can't get goals, or without Chanunogo you can't create in the midfield. I think Bodo was not did not. In my opinion, I would rather speak about Bodo than speak about Inter Milan. So shout out to
Inter.
Bodo Glimt. They did what they were supposed to do in their home, and they came away and just sat back, waited for Inter, and Inter couldn't do anything, and they went ahead. So kudos to Bodo more than anything.
More than anything, yeah. I think I like what I saw from Bodo Glimt. It's also similar with the way Juventus also suffered, as in against Galatasaray. There were some goal opportunities that they were missing. I was like, what is this?
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
last minute, and when you don't do your job in the first leg, you now start
Yeah.
struggling in those situations.
You make it hard. You make it hard for yourself.
But I think for Inter, a fundamental problem is their wing backs, DeMarco and Dumfries. they struggled a bit, especially in this kickoff, especially first and second leg. They struggled. They were they were not a good engine for them, just like they were. In their last Champions League that they got to the final. I didn't really see that bite from Dumfries this time
Taiwo,
around.
they are neither
But,
neither here nor there.
hmm?
Without Dumfries, without Dimarco, Inter Milan should walk into that game finding 3 points home and away against Bodo Glimt. No excuses. I'm sorry, no excuses. They
That's
didn't
true.
do their
That's
job.
true. That's
They
true.
And
they they,
I
they
kind
were,
of agree with that.
yeah, they didn't do their job. Especially away at the away game, they were sloppy. It felt like by appearing on the pitch, you're going to get 3 points, and that doesn't work.
Yes.
Especially for a team that is
They were
ready
entitled.
to. Yeah, they were entitled, and
Which kind of
it doesn't.
entitlement is that one?
No, because you
No
are
tax.
perennial winner,
No
you
tax.
are the bigger team, you're coming, and you just get to the pitch and you don't apply yourself to the game, you'll be taken to the
It's true.
cleaners, and exactly what they did. And again, they showed them even
So,
at the
and
highest level in San Siro. So
San Siro, exactly. Yeah. I think they took them to the cleaners of San Siro. The cleaners.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Just to touch on that,
Yeah.
and I think like you said, when you're talking about when you're reading out the stats, and that's another perfect scenario, perfect example of how like sometimes stats doesn't tell the full story, right?
Yeah,
Like the analogy I would like to say is like, I mean, it reveals a lot, but doesn't reveal the most important thing. I watched the game, the second leg, and Inter Milan were drab. They just had possession. You could tell. I mean, Bodo Glimt knew what they wanted to do. They
wanted to
had the
do.
lead,
Yeah,
so they were willing to sit back and hit on the counter. And the goals came from counter attack. But Inter
Yeah.
Milan did not do enough for me to even put in the effort, fight. Unlike what Galatasaray
and
in the Juventus
Juve
match,
did.
even though they lost, you could see the effort from
You see the
Juventus
fight, yeah. Yeah.
coming back from 3 goals down to take it
With
to
10 men. With 10 men.
10 men from
10
first
men.
half. So you
Yeah.
could see the difference. Although they lost, but they left with at least their heads held high. Or like Inter Milan, which was like you said, for finalists of last season to
Too
go
bad.
out in such manner, losing home and away, it's
Not
terrible.
good
And
enough. Yeah,
again, it just brings more focus with what happened to Inter Milan and Juventus, more focus to Italian football. Like, what is wrong with Italian football against the big boys? This is the same Inter Milan that are running away with the league, who they would win the league again, right?
Yeah.
And how many times have they won the league? This is a new manager who would win the league. And all of a sudden, in the Champions League this season, they just lack it. Italian teams, I mean, and it's Italian football as a whole, and we can see that in their national team. Before this last World Cup, they missed the previous 2 World Cups.
Yeah,
So
that's
are
true.
they going for?
That's
I'm not
true.
sure. They didn't make this World Cup, so they're going to play playoffs.
I think they're going to play playoffs for this, and it just shows you where Italian football is. And like Del Piero was saying, of like, when was the last Italian player that any of the other top leagues bought or top teams bought an Italian player? Like, you can't really
Yeah.
hear. So
Good point.
you can just explain the downhill
Decline. Yeah.
of Italian football, and there are really no star players. The teams are bad. Before Italian football, you know how defensively solid they always are.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what they
The Inter Milan, the AC Milans of how like you go to
It's true.
it shows how it affected. Try to figure out what's wrong with them when they compete in Europe.
So I'm just thinking right now, I'm looking at the stats of that game, right? Inter had 32 shots. 32 shots.
Yes,
Bodo had only 7. And then on shots on goal, Inter, of their 32 shots, they had 7 on goal.
Yeah.
It had 5 on goal. Because when you say a team dominated the game, if you look at this stats, it looks like Inter dominated the game. 64% possession compared to Bodo Glimt 36%. And then all the shots that they had, but they couldn't convert any of them. Is there a problem with their attack? Or a problem with their midfielder? It looks like there's a problem with their attack. Because if you have those number of shots, and if you don't score like 2 goals at home, in front of your own fans,
exactly.
maybe there's a problem. Just like what Shasha is saying, is the problem with the attack or with the defense. Over time, we've known Italians as having stronger defenses than other leagues, right? So I didn't focus on that and leaving out what is most important, because in a game, the hardest thing to do is score a goal. That's the most difficult thing to do in a game, scoring a goal. So I did focus on that and at the cost of losing their attack. That's what it's looking. That's what this game might just be saying, which is quite interesting, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one. So Joshua, just to kind of double down on some of the insights you gave us, Newcastle is a big surprise for me. Karabakh, they've really, tried their best to even get to this level, a low budget team, and they were able to, still try kind of respond and also give Newcastle a little bit of a run for their money. But one thing that surprised me is the Newcastle coach always finds a way, and I like the way he set up this team, dictating the tempo, making sure that those vertical switches were working out, and Trippier was really outstanding. And at the end of the day, they were able to get this win. When you are also going to give us a breakdown of Newcastle's performance so far, they have now been merged with, they will be facing Barcelona now. Do you think that they are a very easy matchup for Barcelona as well?
No, not at all. Far from it. They're not a very easy match. And like you said again, I mean the game was done after the first leg, right? The second leg was more like a formality, and Newcastle made changes. So again, the game had been won. That was just really a formality, and Karabakh has done really well to even get up to this point, to get up to the playoffs, so they can live with their heads held high and like know that they gave it all mixed with the big boys. They drew with Chelsea at home during the league phase, so they can be proud of their performance. But yeah, Newcastle, Eddie Howe always is always there, finds a way. He's one of the other managers where you feel like he can make the next step. In terms of coaching one of the top teams, he's English, so again, maybe he's. Some people feel they're grooming him for the England national team job, but he's just one of those very good managers that I think with more resources he can push above his weight. But again, I'm not sure he can get Newcastle to that level because Newcastle are currently hampered by financial decisions. But again, the very interesting game with Barcelona, I think it's going to be end to end. If you remember, they met in the league phase. And
Yeah,
Barcelona won that I think 2-1 or 2-0. Rashford scoring both goals, beautiful goals. So it's going to be another very interesting game, home and away. You just know what you get. You get entertainment, end to end, physicality, and again, Champions League nights in St James's Park is always beautiful to watch. So but again, the only downside to that is I was checking online and I checked their run of games in that period for
yeah,
March when the round of they have a tough run of games in that period. They're going to be facing Man City, Chelsea, then play Barcelona, then play Man City or Liverpool, then play Barcelona second leg. So that six game run is going to be is really tough for them. So it's going to depend on how will they be able to manage cope with those games? I mean, we don't know how the table in Premier League would be at that stage. Would they be fighting for Champions League spots? So all those games will be critical and important. And Newcastle not having a large squad, it might be challenging and interesting to see how they manage and navigate that crisis. But again, that's why you're a big team. That's why you're playing all of these Champions League games, to be in those big matches at the end of the season. Hopefully they're able to manage it, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a very interesting game. If you were to ask me now, I think on the balance of both legs, I think Barcelona will just edge it through to qualify.
fine, okay, that's a good one. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just push it to Dr. Emmanuel. Just like we talked about earlier, Atalanta is still the only Italian team that is trying to just pull that muzzle. But I'm surprised with the way they just went and faced Dortmund to get every pound of flesh that they could get. I thought it was already done in the first leg because Dortmund was comfortable already the first leg. But the second leg was fire for fire. We're having Zappa Costa from nowhere showing Dimarco pushing extremely high. All those guys were just. But what do you think generally, Atalanta? I think their matchup with Bayern Munich is going to be a tough one. Bayern Munich is a flawless team. They'll probably just go. They will just go and rest in the round of 16, and will probably not have any Italian team go far. But what do you think? Just give me your 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great game on Wednesday. Watching the Atlanta versus Dortmund, I was quite disappointed at Dortmund for considering those two goals in the first half. It just changed the game, and that's what happens, right? When you think you're 2 goals up, you're at an advantage, and all of a sudden you put one goal, and then you start being shaky. And that's the thing about playing a top team. No matter what, they're still top team. Atlanta is still a top team, right? They still have some good quality players, Kamaka and the likes, and Zappa Costa. They still have some very good players who can hurt you. And it clearly showed, right? I know, and then after Atlanta equalized, got the 2 goals. Dortmund tried to come, get to the game again. I think they scored 1 goal that made it. No, I think it became 3-2. Then
Yeah,
Dortmund equalized and became 3-3. Then
yeah,
the last minutes, very unfortunate for that Atlanta defender, the Dortmund defender. The foul he committed on the guy where he kicked his. I thought it was a bit unfortunate. It was a bit unlucky, with that penalty decision because he was going for the ball. and the guy was going with his head. He caught the ball and got the guy's head with his boots. Of course, it wasn't. It was a bad foul, right? But again, the intention was to get the ball. That was the intention. So looking at that, and that was just what, because that was the last minute of the game, and they got the last penalty, and the game changed. So it was good of Atlanta. Good to see them go through. Good to have an Italian team there in the mix. At least we have a few German teams. We have some English teams. We have teams from Spanish teams there. French team. So it's good to have an Italian team too, right? In the mix of the Champions League last 16. I just felt for Dortmund. Atlanta are going to play Bayern Munich. Well, I wish them all the best, but I'm sure Bayern will probably over 2 legs. You expect Bayern to do it because I mean Bayern has been almost perfect. This is both home and away everywhere. English in the German league, the Champions. Apart from Arsenal, apart from my Arsenal, they haven't lost to that team, which is an interesting one. So I don't see Atlanta surviving Bayern Munich home and away.
But if you look at the way Atalanta played, they were more hungry. Sometimes Dortmund gives me that vibe of a team that there are some years that Dortmund will just be flawless. They will just go far in Champions League. They may just get to the final and lose in the final. You understand that? And some seasons they will just get to the round of 16 and they just don't give you that bite. But that team sometimes just gives you a different blow. Every year they come up with different energy. Unfortunately, it is how it's going to be because one Italian team still had to go. And I'm also surprised because Sporting is also going to be able to pull their muzzle against Bodo Glimt. But before we go into that, Crespo, your friend in Galatasaray, Osimhen, was able to ginger the team. He was able to ginger the team. And in all sincerity, Juventus played, they didn't cheat us when it comes to effort. To be very sincere, which Joshua talked about, they did not cheat us when it comes to effort. They put in the right effort. Galatasaray just, I think it was at some point when they discovered that he was going to go into extra time, they felt that, man, they've messed up. What's happening? How did we get here? That kind of situation when you wake up and you're like, how did we get here? And they just went ahead and Osimhen was able to put in that goal. I even felt Osimhen was quiet because it was more of gingering the team, getting the team better, giving them that hope until when that goal now came in extra time. And it was also a good one that at least in this time Osimhen put in one goal at least. But what do you think, Crespo, from your own end?
So what I think, first off, Galatasaray is lucky to be in the next round.
Yes.
Because in my opinion, they don't deserve, or they didn't deserve to make it. But I think the god of soccer just felt like, you know what, I want you guys to take part. And if they perform this way in the next round, they're out. So to the game proper, I think at that level of Champions League, they were so poor. You can't have 3 goals ahead and go away and not. In fact, they made so many poor passes in the final third that I've seen in a long time. You see Sane, final pass, he wouldn't make the final pass. The guy that plays on the left also would make a run. Osimhen would have opened up and he would pass the ball. And I was like, are these guys really serious about this game? You are a man down and you are conceding. You wouldn't, if you didn't know Juve had the red card, you wouldn't know they were a man down. If you come to that.
Yep, that was surprising.
And Osimhen said it after the game. He said the statement he made was they were lucky to that. In fact, he said Juventus deserves to win.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I don't know. Again, I think this goes back to the quality of the league, the quality of the players. A number of the players in Gala are kind of old. I was really surprised that Torreira played that poorly. Gundogan came in, he played so poorly, and you could see Osimhen was frustrated. He barely had a chance on goal in 90 minutes. He would be well positioned, but they wouldn't pass. So the time they gave him that pass and he scored, he just like, guys, come on, I've told you, give me the ball. That's why I'm here. But for some reasons, those guys didn't come to the party, and by the whiskers, they got lucky. Again, like I said, if they played this way against Liverpool, game over.
Yeah. And again, Juve have themselves to play. Like Juve had that game in their hand. Like before it went to extra time, they had 2 good chances, 2 clear-cut chances.
Uncontested, no. They were not contested. Open chances. They were just.
It was
Juventus number 11.
That would have been a very great comeback. Like they just unfortunately couldn't finish it.
And that red card is the part that I kind of feel for them because the guy already jumped up. And if it was basketball, it's a bit different. It was not intentional, but it landed on a dangerous part of your opponent's leg. You understand?
So they will say it's dangerous play.
It's dangerous play, but it was not intentional.
Fair. That was unfair
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
so it wasn't.
you have
So
to
it
land when you
wasn't.
jump, right?
Yeah, but you can't jump and land on my leg.
No,
It's
but
true.
you're looking at the ball, right? And I don't think it was intentional, right?
No,
And,
it's
and
it's it's a way to
So
protect. You
unfortunately,
have situations where
it's not even the intent. It's not driven by the
it's
intent anymore.
exactly. It's not driven by intent. It's driven by the facts
By
on the
intent
ground.
anymore. So it's
Did
now like if the
you?
player was
Was it a
badly
dangerous
injured, what would
play?
you now say?
Yeah,
Exactly. Because that part of the leg he landed on, the player would have been stretched out if it
yeah,
was a different
very
situation.
bad. Yeah,
So that those are the things they are looking at. I'm sure the referee understood
yeah. It's
that
just
he had
dangerous
good
play,
intentions
and
because
you also
he
have to
was
go
not
by the
even looking
rules.
at the player, he was looking up when he jumped. So
Hmm.
coming down, his leg now landed on a terrible part of his leg, of your opponent's leg. So it just, unfortunately, it just turned out to be unfortunate. I think if that guy did
Yeah,
not have a red card, it would have been a different conversation today. Do you agree
really,
yeah,
with me?
probably
Yeah,
because
it would have
Gala
been a
did
well,
not play
different.
well.
well,
So
Well, you never know. You never
you never
know.
know.
You
You
never
never
know.
know.
It could
It's
also
it's still
mean
the
they
game
won't
of
have that
football, right?
fight. I mean,
You
I
just
think
never know.
I don't
after
Yeah.
the
no
red card, it was like,
I
what do they have to
disagree.
lose? They are down.
No, I
Red card,
disagree
they as
because
well go for it.
as at the first half
So
when they had complete men, they were already a goal up. Before the red card,
they
they
go
were
down.
already so they know as in they had scored a goal. They had scored. Juve had scored a goal. So
Okay.
my point is Galatasaray did not play. So whatever you are saying, anything could have happened. With what Gala did, they were lucky Juve didn't win, like you mentioned. There was a chance they had
Yeah.
Mm.
towards the end of the first half that the guy tried to be cheeky and he played the ball. If
Play
they
the
had
ball.
scored
There's
that
one that
goal,
just went
honestly,
just beside the post.
Mm.
honestly, if anybody analyzes that game, you should be flogging
Yeah.
Galatasaray for everything they did wrong in that game because they did everything wrong. They were just lucky.
It's
Yeah,
true.
but
They were just lucky.
it's about football, right? Things can change a game, right? If that red card wasn't given, you never know how that game could have spanned. Anything can happen. Just like when Arsenal played Chelsea at Stamford Bridge and then they got that red card, and people said that if they had Chelsea had 11, they would have won the game. You just never know,
No, no.
right?
So what
So
I mean by that
I
is
agree.
you could
I
see the
agree. I agree.
ascendancy in
Gala was
Juve
poor.
already.
Yeah.
Juve was already playing
Sorry.
well already. Like Juve was down. Like
Yeah, yeah,
they
they
had
were
nothing
playing
to
well.
do.
Yeah.
They just gave everything.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Even with the red card, they still look very composed.
Yeah,
Even with
my
the
point.
red card,
So
very, very
like
composed.
again, that's why I don't even want us to give Galatasaray the chance, like, because for me at that level of football, if you are not serious, you are taking out somebody's space. Come on, this is a chance for you guys to put Turkey on the map. There's a lot of talk about how poor the Turkish league is, and you play at that level and you give that kind of performance. Come on, look at Bodo Glimt for Christ's sake. Whatever it is anybody is going to say, you are going to look at that league where they're coming from, and probably their quotient for the next year would go up. But what was Turkey doing? Almost all the Turkish teams in the Europa League are out. Almost all the Turkish team in the Conference League are out.
Even
So it's
Fenerbahce.
just continue to buttress. Yeah, it just continue to buttress the point that the Turkish league is not good enough.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's not good enough. They would lose it. Who are
Yeah.
they meeting in the round of 16?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
they are
exactly,
meeting.
exactly.
Oh,
So they're meeting
and
Liverpool.
Liverpool owes them. I'm sorry, they owe Liverpool. They beat
Yeah,
Liverpool in the league, so I think
Yeah.
Liverpool would
exactly.
have that in the back of their mind.
Yeah, so those are
Yep.
the things we want to see. So how can they, like, right now nobody expects anything from them if what we saw
Yeah.
by what they did against Juve. But like you guys said, give them benefit of that. Hopefully they go back to the drawing board and make things right and give us a good
Get some
performance.
things right. And
Yeah,
probably start to approach Champions League from now, till whenever they go
yeah,
home. But I don't think that they'll be able to make any noise in this round of 16 at all.
yeah. Sometimes we
And
like to see
Joshua,
the underdogs do something nice.
Yep.
exactly. And look at Bodo Glimt of this world, the low budget team. If they are not careful,
There's always
they'll beat this Portuguese team. If they are not careful,
they can.
they can beat this Sporting
Yeah,
team. They can.
Yep.
yeah. That's
If
what
they
we're
can beat
saying.
Inter home and away, then they can beat Sporting. If they can
Sporting,
beat Inter
yeah.
Yeah,
home and away, then they can beat Sporting. I
exactly.
won't be surprised if that happens.
They can though, because Portuguese team, I don't trust them. I don't trust Portuguese teams. Really, I'm telling
You
you,
remember
I
what
just don't
what
trust
what
Portuguese.
Sporting did to Man City last? Was it last season? Last
Yeah,
Champions League.
Sporting, right? Yeah.
Oh,
You should not look
oh
down on them.
no, no. At this stage, right? At this stage, right? It just takes two mistakes. You
And
concede
you're
two
out.
goals.
That's true.
That's it. And once that's the World Cup game.
Yeah, you're out.
You're out. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. I think the next one we're looking at, because it's very interesting playoffs. I like the kind of drama. PSG went, against Monaco, very fairly balanced. And Joshua said something in our last analysis. He was saying that PSG was thinking this is a fellow French team, so they probably just relaxed a bit. But what do you think this 2-2 was about? Do you think it was about a PSG team that is fairly becoming weak, or a Monaco team that wanted it more? After the 2-2 possession, the 2-2 game, I looked at 72.6% on possession. PSG dominated, but they still couldn't produce as many goals as we thought they will produce. What do you think, Joshua?
Yeah, good question. I think it's neither here nor there. Watching PSG this season has been. I don't think certainly they've reached the heights that they did towards the end of last season. But
Last
again,
season.
that's really not telling anything. It's almost like would they pick up when they need to? Because if you remember, even last season when they won everything aside from the Club World Cup, their season didn't start until January. If you remember, even
Yeah.
in that season,
Yeah,
They
yeah.
also in the
they
Champions. They
had
also
to
came
go to
from a
the
round of
playoffs.
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 Yeah.
They had to go to the playoffs, right? And then they qualified to the playoff, and then they met Liverpool, and that was when their season really kick-started. They beat Liverpool on penalties, and from there it just went on. So I'm not sure we've gotten that same late run, how good they were this season. Even in the league form, they've not been blowing teams away like they did towards the end of the season. Although we all know even their second 11 will still win different leagues, so that's really not a challenge for them. They will win it. It's been interesting to see how they then progress in the round of 16 and when they start meeting the big boys in Champions League, how they'll be able to cope because they've just looked a bit frail, especially defensively for me this season. Even though in the first leg they had to come from a two-goal down, a two-goal deficit against Monaco, and in the second leg also they conceded to Monaco. So I'm not really quite sure what was going on there, but you still feel like PSG were going to go through, and at the end of the day, that's what you need, right? To just be able to qualify and take to the next game. But I think Monaco did well. They can be proud of themselves. I don't know what position they are in the league. Um, but they feel the first leg especially was good. I mean, you just knew that once PSG gets all their attacking players on, they would get a goal. But Monaco did really well. Dembele is currently injured. He went out in the first leg. But yeah, pretty much still the same. They just have some key players missing. Dembele missing. Um, Fabian Ruiz in the midfield has also been missing, so it's mainly been Vitinha, and
Yeah, Vitaly.
Yes, and Zayn Emery in the midfield.
Yeah.
So uh, again, it's really too early to see. I'll really start to judge them in this knockout phase that we've gotten to and see how they perform. But again, they're always going to be there or thereabout because of how good they are or how good we know they can be. And
Yeah.
again, we're meeting Chelsea, so it's an interesting game in the round of 16. And we remember the Club World Cup final, how that
Yeah.
game went. Maybe PSG have a score to settle, so it should be an interesting game. Just feel like over both legs, PSG are the better team. Probably would nick it, but again, it's knockout football, it's Champions League. You never know what happened, but once they after round of 16, then we can begin to talk. But again, PSG for now, they are doing all they need to do, beating the team they need to beat, staying on top of the league and progressing. So we'll see how well they can if they can defend their Champions League title.
Yeah, so now on the journey of trying to defend their Champions League title, they will have to face a team called Chelsea
Definitely.
in the round of 16.
Joshua, are you guys ready for them,
It's true.
Joshua?
Best thing,
Emmanuel, I just
Are you
asked
ready
him
to
so
beat
that I
beating them,
was, just because they have to go
we've
through
beaten them
Chelsea.
before. Which is easy.
But this one, they are fighting for everything in round of 16. So hopefully, let's still see how it's going to be. I didn't want to see a PSG Chelsea at this stage. Just like I also did not want to see a Madrid Man City at this stage.
I'm
I
telling you,
wanted
man.
I
something
mean,
That's the
different.
one that
this is like they've met every season in the last 6 or 7 years, except one. They've met in the
Uh,
Champions League every year.
Man
Last
City
year they met in the
Madrid
playoffs.
is
Real
something
Madrid
I'm
didn't
tired
make
of
the
seeing.
playoffs. So right
Exactly.
now I'm tired of seeing Real Madrid City. Like
I'm tired of seeing Madrid City. I didn't want to see PSG Chelsea at this stage because of that final upset in the World Club. But it is what it is. We have to just see
but it's
how it's
gonna be
going
a
to
fun
go.
game.
So who do you think will win? PSG, Chelsea. Who do you think will?
So if you're
Yeah, I
looking at
think
pedigree. No, if it's Joshua, Joshua will say Chelsea now. 200 times
No,
out of
of course
20.
Chelsea will win, not because I'm just supporting, but because I know Chelsea will win.
No, but
Exactly.
I think I want to agree. I want to agree that Chelsea will win. So Joshua, you guys should keep me right there. I want to agree because you know why? You know why? Chelsea this season, when it comes to playing the big teams, that's when they win when they're their best. When they come to play the smaller teams, you see them messing up. Beats, Burnley, which other one again did they mess up? So that's the thing with Chelsea. You'll be surprised that Chelsea will beat PSG home and away. You'll be surprised. But that's what they are. They're so unpredictable.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, so Emmanuel,
Who is
Real
Man U
Madrid
playing
was
now?
able. You said what?
Man U,
We're dancing for you guys.
they're on leave. Man U is
Oh,
on
yeah,
leave.
just
They're
a
on
You
quick.
want,
break.
you
Just
want
was
Crespo to
quiet.
We are,
I
respond?
didn't know
You
Man
want
U was
Crespo
playing.
to
we are coming
respond?
to dance. We are coming to dance. Come
Yeah,
and
we'll
cheer
be,
it.
we'll be
Obviously,
doing
Man U is
it.
like the season now. It's next season.
We are coming
Man U
next
already
season. Don't
knows it.
worry.
We are coming
No
next season. Don't
problem. Next
worry.
It's
Don't
next
season.
worry.
season.
I don't know why people
Just
are angry
joking.
that
Don't
Man U
don't
is going
don't
towards
mind
the third
us.
position. They want to take it.
Don't mind
They
them.
want to
Oh.
take it
Then
by
they beef
force.
us.
Uh, they don't know they will get
Well,
1
now,
week
so
to
you
rest for
you
every
guys are happy now.
weekend
You're
game.
winning, you're happy. When
Ah,
they give you the contract now, you
You
now
don't
start
want
losing the games.
You don't want us to be happy. You guys like
Yeah,
as we did now.
You guys should be happy for one because
They
you're my
find
guy.
oil for ground. Now like that one.
You're my guys. I want you to be happy. So be happy, please. It's good that you're
Let's
happy.
be up together. Let's be up
It's good that
together.
you're happy.
Aston Villa has already made it easy for us. Don't worry. We are coming for the third position conveniently. Real Madrid had this hybrid block, and I like their rotation. Vinicius Junior was still, showing us that he's still on top of the world. And Emmanuel, I just want you to give us your 2 cents. And they were able to just make an easy one out of Benfica, and now they are sitting pretty in the round of 16, preparing for a matchup against the same Man City we're talking about. What do you think about Benfica's journey coming at an end? It was just a very quiet one. Madrid against the special one. And I noticed that Mourinho was serving some kind of suspension, so he was not allowed to sit to support the
On the bench.
team and stuff. But Real Madrid did not need a lot of drama to just get it done and move on to the next thing. But what do you think generally about Real Madrid?
Yeah,
Do
I
you
mean,
think they are strong enough to make noise?
well, strong enough to make that. I don't think so. Real Madrid has not been. They've been merely average this season. Even last season too, they were not great last season. Right? Doing Ancelotti's last season, they were not great. And this season too, I mean, they were topping the league out. And they lost the game to Barcelona just last weekend. Right? They went up for like 1 week or 2 weeks. Right?
Yeah.
They're already out. So you expect them to beat Benfica home and away, right? Not disrespect to Benfica, right? They're still a good side. But given what Madrid has, Mbappe, Romani, Vinicius Junior, Bellingham, they have players who can hurt you in a very good day, right? So I wasn't surprised to see that Benfica got the first goal in that game, right? Yeah, when they got that first, I was like, yeah, it's going to be a different game. But then when Madrid scored their own goal, I was like, nah, this is already done. I expected more goals, to be fair. I expected them to score more goals, but it's what it is, right? It's fair play to them. They've gone through, right? And they're going to be facing Man City in the next round, in the round of 16. I wish them all the best. But I don't see them going very far, to be fair, because I don't think they've been very strong in the last couple of seasons, right? I don't
Yeah.
see them going. I would probably think Man City will beat Real Madrid home and away, or Man City will win whether home or away. I don't know how it goes, but I think Man City will kick Madrid out of the Champions League this season. Madrid, I maybe they need some changes in that team, right? The reliance on Mbappe, was good to see Vinicius Junior get the goals in the last in both home and away legs. I think Mbappe is injured or something. He didn't play
Yeah,
last.
he's injured. He couldn't play,
Yeah,
and that's why Vinny Junior had to take
He
charge
stepped
in
up.
that
yeah.
match.
Vinny
Yeah,
boy. And he
Well,
danced again. He danced
Vinny
yeah.
again.
Junior exactly.
I think there's something needs to be sorted. That team they need to sort out the fit in that team. Like who's the I don't know how they do it, right? Who the main person will be. You know, you have a team and then you have everybody wants to win the Ballon d'Or. They want to be the star boy. Mbappe is
Yeah.
there saying he wants to be star boy. Junior is there saying, I mean, both of them are excellent players. So the coach just needs. I think coach needs to look for it to make them work together as a team. So
Exactly.
far, they are able to do to an extent. But it's good to see them really playing for each other, playing for each as a team, playing together as a team, and find their best. I don't see them going very far in the Champions League.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for that input. Well spot on. I think that's a good one. We're going to be seeing the round of 16, coming up as fast as it can be. But it's going to be a lot of drama, and we're definitely going to get a lot of opportunity to weigh in on it. But just to touch on some of the matches that will be going down tomorrow in the Premier League, a bit more on the GMT and Eastern Time. Manchester City before the Champions League round of 16 round off, they were able to comfortably get a 2-1 win against Newcastle, and that took them to about 56 points, just within two of Arsenal. Before Arsenal now played the match that took them further with one match outstanding. But Man City will be going against Leeds City tomorrow, and what do you think? What are your predictions, Crespo? What do you think Man City will do against Leeds United tomorrow?
Prediction 4-2, 3 goals
Yeah.
from Haaland, and Semenyo scores one, and City concedes 2 goals. Yeah, 4-2.
Crespo,
Man,
did
that
you
was
ask me to do this to you? Should I go put my
because that was
money? Should
very
I go put
fast.
my money on it?
That's a bold prediction.
Should I go
Very
put
bold.
my money on it?
The prediction is hinged on my FPL. I'm really looking for Haaland to do well this weekend. So,
So it's a biased prediction. I wanted to go stake my earnings on it.
I don't know
Please
about
don't
that.
do.
That was a
Don't do.
very
Don't,
fast
don't,
one. I
don't,
didn't
don't.
expect that to come that fast. Joshua, what do you think? What's your prediction for Man U?
Well,
I mean, for
I'm
Man
not as
City.
optimistic as Crespo. Maybe because I don't have the biases of FPL. I mean, I left FPL a long time while ago, but I think City would win. They have that feeling like they could do something. So I think they just have to keep applying pressure, and it won't be easy against Leeds because Leeds are very tough not to crack currently. Even the first leg was a tough one for City to
Exactly.
win. So
Yep.
again, I think City would win by 1 goal difference, either a 2-1, a 3-2, or a 3-1.
Okay. Emmanuel, you want to chime in before we go
Yeah,
into the.
yeah. What I want to happen, the City draw or a loss. What I want to happen. But what I think will happen is a City win because despite League being strong at home, right? I don't see them being able to contain. City has good players. Haaland is there. Semenyo is there. Foden, Bernardo Silva. They have very good guys who on a very good day can pull on shots from it and score a goal. Even this guy, what's his name? The guy that scored the 2 goals in the last game against
Okay, that's is he O'Reilly?
O'Reilly.
O'Reilly.
O'Reilly. Exactly.
That guy is
O'Reilly, okay,
becoming
defender.
He's
something
not
else
playing
under
left
this
back
coach.
again because this guy is
Yeah, in the
back. He's
midfield.
now playing
Yeah.
his
The midfield,
position.
right? Exactly. So that's what scares me. What scares me. So I'll say I think it will be a tight game because Leeds is playing at home, right? So maybe I'll say 2-1 Man City. But
Okay,
I
too.
want a draw or a loss for Man City.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good one. The next set of predictions is going to be drama filled. Before the Champions League interface, we had Chelsea having a very interesting draw with Burnley. Within at least the week under review, there was a late goal coming from Burnley that just spoiled the day for them, and they ended up going with a draw. Joshua, do you want to tell us their next game will be Arsenal? So Emmanuel will also chime in on
Yeah.
that. Maybe you can just talk a little bit about the draw. What adjustments do you think they need to make against Arsenal that they'll be facing on the 1st of March?
Yeah, what's more like a heartbreak, like just terrible because what we thought we've put behind us just came back again, like battling with red card. I think that's the 8th red card we've had this season, and I don't think we've won any of those games where we've had red cards. So
Yeah.
once we were leading and we had a red card, I just had that feeling, checking the scores, that this would have to be a grind for them to see it out. Can they see it out? They have what it takes to like just grind out that win, even if you can't get the second goal. And almost at it, but for that late equalizer. And again, just poor defensive marking. Chaluba didn't mark his man, who we know like Fleming is their threat like aerially, and for him to have been left alone there was just poor decision making from the team for the last kick of the game. So again, points dropped. But the next game, yeah, Chelsea Arsenal, as you know, apart from it being like the title race is heating up, it's also a derby, so it's always going to be a big game. But the
Big
added
game.
extra spice of, I don't know who plays first between. I think City play first before Arsenal Chelsea. So
Yep.
if
Six
City
first.
do win, you of course you know how the build up to that Arsenal Chelsea game would be in terms of Arsenal have to get a result, a win most likely. So so that would play into the narratives, the media, and all of that. The derby. But it will be an interesting game. Like we said, I mean, Chelsea know how to like turn up for this big game sometimes, or at least we've seen this season. So let's see if that can happen. If you ask me who will win, I mean, my heart says Chelsea. My head would say
Your head
Your
is
heart
correct.
and your head are not in the same place.
Your head is correct. Don't worry.
The
yeah.
heart and the head, they are not in the same
My
place.
head would say would say Arsenal to win. Arsenal a better team currently, better squad, better side. We'll be more consistent this season. Have something to fight for. Really, I mean, we have Champions League, but Arsenal have something they really want to get over the line. So, I think my head says Arsenal win, but again, I mean, if Chelsea also win or get a draw, I wouldn't be surprised.
Emmanuel, I was really excited when
Yes.
I saw how Arsenal was able to keep it very composed against Tottenham, especially looking at the fact that it's also a London derby. They needed to kind of show Man City that they were staying at the top means that you have to play with swagger. As a title contender, you also have to make it count against. I would like to say struggling Tottenham again because the coach that they brought as the backup coach for them is not a proven coach. He's probably just a caretaker between now and the end of the season. He has been sacked in various places within the last few years, and you now brought him to be a caretaker for a Tottenham team. Unfortunately, is what I call in most cases most miserable. To have a coach that has been sacked multiple times to now come and be your caretaker coaches for me is unacceptable. But what's your view, Arsenal, Chelsea? What's your prediction? So that we can, just what's your outlook generally?
Yeah, I think just my heart says Arsenal, my head says Arsenal too,
Your heart
right?
and your
So
head.
both of them are in the same place right now. I mean, Arsenal right now on current form, Arsenal is a better team than Chelsea, right? We're a better team than Chelsea. So, and to be fair, I'm not sure Chelsea has beaten Arsenal in the last 3 or 4 years. Home and away, it might be a tight one. It might be like a 2-1 win. That's what I'm
Okay.
predicting. So, and they seem like willing to give it their all to go all the way to to win the next few games that are left. So, I would think Arsenal would win this one.
Okay. Mr. Crespo, what do you think generally? Because mind you, they have 1 week to rest, so they have no excuse. They have at least 6 days to sleep because they are not playing any other competition. They will be going against a very good Crystal Palace team who is trying to find some balance. They were able to get a 1-0 win against Everton. It was a very tight match. And, looking at the fact that Sesko is, enjoying himself, playing so well, what do you think this would look like against Crystal Palace on Sunday?
Yeah, the flip side to not playing any game all week could also affect match sharpness.
Sure.
Nevertheless, you would expect Man U to take advantage of the time to rest and not playing an extra game. I think Crystal Palace played in the Conference League during the week, if I'm not wrong. So again, Man U has everything at their beck and call. They just need to step up. Again, we're having this conversation because of what we know, what we have seen of Man U in the past few years. Crystal Palace over this season or over the years have also been a boogie team. If you think you are going to win them, you may end up losing. Even when Manu was so great, I'm not sure we always had it easy against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is a very disciplined side, well organized team. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that game. What I'm just proud or positive of Manu is we see this Manu as a team that is not conceding goals anyhow anymore. So even if we're not going to win, we're not going to play Crystal Palace and in the first 10 minutes we're 3 goals down or 2 goals down and looking for how to come back. So we're beginning to see stability in the team. However, because of those around us, we're expecting so much more from this team because if we get into the Champions League, you wouldn't have the luxury of 6 days before every other game. And I'm not sure this
Yeah.
current Man U, if they are playing midweek and Sunday, they will have this result they're having. So they need to prove that to us. Playing against Everton, they should have done better. I don't know why everybody's giving them so much accolades. You should have because you can't compare the squad that Everton has to Man U. So why are you struggling? However, that's the Man U that we have seen, and it's good to even for someone like me to be thinking we should blow things out now. That's a sign that there's something in the upward direction for Man U. So again, against Crystal Palace, I expect a 2-1 in favor of Man U. I remember also earlier in the season we got a 1-goal, 1-0 win. I think 1-2-1. It was 2-1 in their house in London. So let's see
London,
how
yeah.
they turn up. Like you said, they have a lot of time to rest. But again, I hope being resting doesn't mean being lazy.
It's
Doesn't
true.
mean so. Again, like I said, match fitness. Yeah, it's true. match fitness is needed. So if you are just training is not like playing a game. So again, I'm hopeful and I'm excited, and I hope Man you can win. More importantly, Aston Villa just dropped 3 points. It's a chance for
3 points,
Man
yeah.
to lay claim to the third position and give the fight to Aston Villa, Chelsea, and Liverpool. As much as possible. Don't be in the dog or the dog fight with people like Liverpool or Chelsea towards the end of the season. It's good to have Aston Villa in the mix. So
Chelsea, they put
probably,
Chelsea in a dogfight.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
So
true.
probably Aston Villa, Liverpool, Chelsea can drag for the fourth spot. While we take the third spot. So again, looking forward to a win for Man U, but Crystal Palace is not somebody you go to the game and think you would win.
You win, yeah. That's true. So I guess that leaves us with Liverpool. Liverpool had a good one with Nottingham Forest, and they were able to get away with a 1-0 win. And that also puts them in that dogfight. They will still be able to challenge, but they'll be facing West Ham this weekend. And I think my prediction is they will probably just have a decent 2-0 against a struggling West Ham. It will be business as usual for them. Liverpool is still sixth in the Premier League. Assuming every other team does well, they will probably still keep that sixth position. But let's still see how the table looks like by the time they finish. But right now, they are comfortable sharing the same points with Chelsea. And hopefully, definitely, we're going to have either Chelsea or Arsenal drop points. I don't see a draw. I don't even predict a draw for Chelsea and Arsenal because none of them need it. So somebody has to win in Arsenal and Chelsea. So we've been able to go above 1 hour, so we can just call it a break here and cut it short for next week. I want to say thank you once again, Crespo, Joshua, and Mecca, coming together and talk about the sport that we love. It is a thing of joy, and it's always something I'm looking forward to. Thank you very much. And, our unfiltered opinion continues, sharp analysis, and big love for the Premier League, Canadian Hoops and Ice, and, Champions League, as much as we can. Thank you very much for your time, and God bless. Enjoy the rest of the night, and see you guys next week. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Happy weekend,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Good weekend,
Enjoy
guys.
your
Yeah.
weekend.